Donald Trump has pledged to implement significant tariffs on imports to protect U.S. industries and reduce reliance on foreign supply chains. His advisors suggest that the upcoming administration may impose tariffs between 45% and 60% on Chinese goods, a move that could create substantial economic strain and greatly impact U.S. China trade relations. This would further intensify the ongoing economic and strategic competition between the two countries. In response, the Chinese government has introduced sweeping new export restrictions extending beyond its borders. According to a recent Bloomberg report, China has enacted unprecedented measures to limit the direct export of critical materials like gallium and germanium to the United States. Additionally, Beijing aims to prevent foreign companies outside of China from supplying U.S. buyers with Chinese-origin inputs that have dual-use applications, meaning they are vital for both civilian and military purposes. These actions are a significant escalation in China's strategy to counter U.S. sanctions and export controls, setting a precedent that could reshape global supply chains and compliance standards. In December 2024, China banned the export of several key minerals to the U.S., including gallium, germanium, antimony, and superhard materials. These minerals are essential for manufacturing semiconductors, solar panels, and military equipment. The Chinese Ministry of Commerce stated that these measures are meant to protect national security and fulfill international obligations, including non-proliferation commitments. This decision follows the U.S. government's move to impose stricter export controls on semiconductor manufacturing equipment and software, expanding the list of Chinese companies subject to these restrictions. The U.S. justifies these actions on national security grounds, asserting they are necessary to prevent China from acquiring technologies that could enhance its military capabilities. China's export restrictions have sparked concerns about the stability of global supply chains, especially for critical minerals. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, China accounts for approximately 60% of the world's germanium and 98% of its gallium, making it a crucial supplier for industries worldwide. As a result, the ban has led to a surge in prices, with the cost of antimony more than doubling to over $25,000 per ton in 2024. For the first time, China's new export regulations explicitly target entities outside its jurisdiction. Foreign businesses and intermediaries that incorporate Chinese materials or components into their products and then sell them to the U.S. may now face legal consequences. This approach mirrors the extraterritorial reach commonly associated with U.S. and European sanctions. The targeted commodities include materials critical to U.S. industries such as gallium and germanium, which are vital for semiconductors, communications equipment, and military hardware. Chinese authorities have also indicated that other dual-use items, particularly those with potential defense applications, will face increased restrictions. The Ministry of Commerce has emphasized that any individuals or organizations found transferring dual-use Chinese-origin goods to U.S. entities will be held accountable under Chinese law. While detailed enforcement mechanisms are not yet specified, legal experts believe this signals the beginning of more active Chinese oversight of its global value chains. The United States has long relied on Chinese sources for essential minerals and specialized components. Gallium and germanium, for example, are critical materials used in electronics, telecommunications, aerospace, and defense sectors. China's recent export ban on these materials has raised concerns about potential disruptions in these industries. Gallium is essential for producing gallium arsenide semiconductors, which are used in high-frequency applications like mobile phones, satellite communications, and radar systems. Gallium is also crucial in the manufacturing of LEDs, laser diodes, and certain solar panels that improve energy conversion efficiency. Germanium plays a key role in fiber optic cables that enable high-speed data transmission and is vital for infrared optics used in thermal imaging systems for military and defense applications. It is also a crucial component in semiconductors that enhance performance in electronic devices. Stricter export controls on these minerals have serious implications for U.S. industries. Supply chain disruptions could lead to difficulties in sourcing these essential materials, causing production delays and rising costs. This could hinder the development and deployment of advanced technologies in both civilian and defense sectors. Furthermore, restricted access to affordable gallium and germanium may force U.S. companies to seek alternative suppliers or invest in domestic production, raising operational costs. These limitations could also slow innovation and reduce the competitiveness of U.S. technology firms in global markets, particularly in high-growth sectors like telecommunications, renewable energy, and defense technologies. In addition to gallium and germanium, Chinese authorities have indicated that a broader range of dual-use items, those with both civilian and military applications, will face heightened restrictions. In recent years, the landscape of global trade has shifted, with an increasing focus on the export control of advanced technologies and strategic materials. Among the most tightly regulated components are high-performance processors, memory chips, and specialized hardware, which are critical for both consumer electronics and military computing systems. Artificial intelligence, AI technologies, including sophisticated AI algorithms, machine learning models, and their related software, are also being closely monitored. These technologies hold immense potential for applications in autonomous weapon systems, surveillance, and cybersecurity, domains where national security interests are at stake. In addition to these high-tech components, industries such as biotechnology and pharmaceuticals are now under tighter scrutiny. These sectors hold promise for advancing medical research, but the same technologies can also be adapted for biological warfare, which adds a layer of geopolitical sensitivity. Furthermore, aerospace materials, particularly lightweight composites and advanced alloys used in both commercial aircraft manufacturing and military aviation, are now subject to heightened export controls. These materials are integral not only for civilian industries, but also for national defense, which makes their control a matter of strategic importance. The implications of these enhanced export controls are profound, with far-reaching consequences in both economic and geopolitical terms. By restricting the export of such critical materials and technologies, China aims to protect its national security interests while maintaining its dominance in key high-tech industries. These measures are designed to prevent sensitive technologies from falling into the hands of potential adversaries, thus bolstering China's national defense capabilities. Moreover, by limiting foreign competition and fostering self-reliance in critical technologies, China is looking to encourage domestic innovation and growth in its high-tech sectors, particularly in areas where it seeks to reduce reliance on foreign technologies. Beyond national defense, these export restrictions also serve as a strategic tool in China's economic diplomacy. The country can leverage its control over vital resources and manufacturing capacity to negotiate more favorable terms in trade agreements and geopolitical negotiations. By exercising this control, China can create a more favorable environment for its domestic industries, while also positioning itself as a key player in global supply chains. For companies, particularly those operating internationally, these export controls present significant challenges. Navigating the complex web of export regulations is no easy feat, as businesses must ensure that dual-use items, those with both civilian and military applications, are not inadvertently exported to unauthorized entities or regions. This requires robust compliance programs and thorough due diligence processes to avoid the risk of legal repercussions, which could include fines, sanctions, and irreparable reputational damage. Companies must also make operational adjustments, such as implementing technologies to track and manage the flow of sensitive materials and technologies, in order to comply with these stringent regulations. As we move forward, it is important to recognize that the enforcement of these export controls remains uncertain, despite the legal framework established by China's export control law enacted in 2020. Experts are still unclear about the extent to which Beijing will enforce its extraterritorial provisions, rules that regulate exports to foreign firms or countries outside of China. While the primary goal may be to prevent Chinese firms from masking exports, or to deter intermediary countries from assisting U.S. companies in circumventing direct bans, there remains the potential for broader enforcement. This situation has drawn comparisons to U.S. policy, particularly the long-standing export controls that govern sensitive technologies. While Beijing may not yet have the same enforcement infrastructure as the United States, these measures represent its most direct attempt to counteract U.S.-led export restrictions. The potential for China to expand its control over the global technology supply chain is real, and this move may signify a broader shift in the balance of global technological influence. China's increasing alignment with Russia is also worth noting in this context. The strategic partnership between the two countries has the potential to bolster China's position amid ongoing trade tensions with the United States. As the U.S. seeks to limit China's access to critical technology sectors, particularly semiconductors and related industries, Russia could serve as a valuable partner in helping China develop its indigenous capabilities. While Russia's technology sector lags behind that of the U.S. and Europe in many areas, it possesses strengths in defense, aerospace, cybersecurity, and certain advanced materials. Joint research initiatives and technical collaboration could reduce China's dependence on U.S. inputs over time, weakening the leverage that the U.S. holds in controlling cutting-edge technologies. The economic and political alliance between China and Russia also addresses China's vulnerability in a prolonged trade conflict, particularly with regard to its dependence on global supply chains for critical resources. Russia's wealth of oil, natural gas, metals, and other raw materials is crucial to China's manufacturing ecosystem. The Power of Siberia pipeline, for example, has bolstered China's long-term energy security by ensuring a stable supply of natural gas. This closer alignment with Russia helps mitigate the risk posed by the U.S.'s attempts to restrict China's access to these essential commodities. Moreover, the alliance between China and Russia serves not only to strengthen their economic ties, but also to reduce their collective reliance on the U.S. dollar and Western financial institutions. Both countries have increasingly pursued trade agreements in national currencies, explored alternative payment systems, and even engaged in digital currency cooperation. By deepening their financial and trade ties, China and Russia can diminish the dominance of the U.S. dollar, thereby reducing the impact of U.S. tariffs and sanctions. This shift also allows China to operate more freely on the global stage, without the constant threat of American economic pressure or political interference. In conclusion, the tightening of export controls, particularly in the fields of advanced computing, AI, biotechnology, aerospace, and military technologies, signals a significant shift in global trade dynamics. For China, these measures represent an effort to protect its national security, encourage domestic innovation, and reduce foreign dependency. For international businesses, these changes necessitate heightened vigilance in compliance with export regulations. And on the geopolitical stage, the evolving relationship between China and Russia may reshape the balance of power, as both countries seek to counteract the influence of the U.S. and its allies. The future of global trade and technology will be increasingly shaped by these complex interactions and the shifting priorities of major global players. The geopolitical counterweights that extend beyond economics play a significant role in shaping global dynamics today. The strategic alliance between China and Russia offers more than just economic cooperation. It also provides vital diplomatic cover and strategic depth for each nation, particularly in the face of increasing efforts by the United States to counter China's rising influence. Washington's objective to build coalitions against China's growing economic, technological, and military power faces a formidable challenge due to Moscow's growing alignment with Beijing. This partnership complicates Washington's ability to isolate China on the global stage and hinder its rise. Russia's involvement in key international institutions, such as the United Nations Security Council, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and various regional forums, serves as an important diplomatic counterbalance to U.S. efforts. Moscow's support allows China to maintain a strong diplomatic presence and avoid becoming diplomatically cornered by the West. This alignment helps prevent China from facing international isolation, enabling it to continue pursuing its global ambitions while maintaining the stability and confidence that are crucial to its domestic and international standing. Moreover, the China-Russia partnership extends beyond political and diplomatic support into the realm of infrastructure development. Together, the two countries are working to expand trade routes, thereby reducing reliance on the United States-dominated maritime lanes. One notable initiative is the Northern Sea Route through the Arctic, which, with Russia's backing, could significantly shorten shipping times and reduce transportation costs for Chinese goods destined for Europe. In addition to maritime routes, the construction of pipelines, railways, and communication networks between China and Russia helps to diversify and strengthen the channels through which Chinese goods are transported. This diversification weakens the effectiveness of U.S. tariffs and supply chain pressures. As China gains the flexibility to reroute trade flows and establish new market connections, with Russia acting as an intermediary to facilitate access to new customers. The ability to counter sanctions is another area in which the China-Russia alliance provides strategic advantages. Both nations have had extensive experience managing sanctions imposed by the United States and its allies. Since 2014, Russia has faced a range of U.S. and EU sanctions, while China has encountered its own set of punitive measures from Washington. This shared experience has equipped both nations with the tools to endure and strategically respond to these economic pressures. Through coordinated responses, the two countries can employ more sophisticated strategies to mitigate the economic fallout of sanctions, engage in counter-sanctions, and stabilize domestic industries. By pooling resources and knowledge, China and Russia are better positioned to withstand external economic assaults, making U.S.-led measures less effective and more costly to implement. Looking back, the U.S. China trade conflict, which began in earnest during the Trump administration, marked a significant shift in global economic relations. The conflict escalated in 2018, when the U.S. imposed tariffs on hundreds of billions of dollars worth of Chinese imports, citing a range of issues including intellectual property theft, forced technology transfers, and trade imbalances. The U.S. highlighted its massive trade deficit with China, which exceeded $375 billion in 2017, as one of the key reasons for these tariffs. The first round of tariffs, introduced in July 2018, targeted $34 billion worth of Chinese imports, including machinery, electronics, and industrial goods. In response, China retaliated by imposing tariffs on American agricultural products such as soybeans and pork. By late 2019, the conflict had escalated further, with the U.S. expanding tariffs to cover $550 billion in Chinese goods, impacting consumer products like electronics, textiles, and toys. In turn, China levied tariffs on $85 billion worth of U.S. exports, which significantly impacted industries like agriculture. American soybean producers, for example, saw their sales to China plummet as Beijing turned to alternative sources like Brazil. To mitigate the economic damage to U.S. farmers, the U.S. government provided over $28 billion in aid between 2018 and 2020. Economic analyses revealed that the costs of the trade war were largely borne by U.S. consumers and businesses. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York estimated that by 2019, tariffs had added approximately $831 in costs for every American household. At the same time, China faced declines in key export sectors, such as machinery and electronics, and responded by diversifying its export destinations and boosting domestic consumption. After 2 years of escalating tensions, the U.S. and China reached the Phase 1 trade agreement in January 2020. Under this deal, China agreed to purchase an additional $200 billion worth of U.S. goods and services above 2017 levels, including manufactured products, agricultural commodities, and energy resources. In exchange, the U.S. suspended planned tariff hikes and reduced some existing duties. However, the COVID-19 pandemic disrupted global trade, and by the end of 2021, China had fulfilled only about 60% of its purchase commitments. Key issues such as state-sponsored subsidies and industrial policies remained unresolved. China's recent imposition of extraterritorial export controls represents a major escalation in its trade and technology disputes with the U.S. This new measure enables China to hold foreign entities accountable for selling Chinese origin goods to the U.S., adding complexity and uncertainty to global supply chains. This move signals Beijing's intention to leverage its control over critical resources and manufacturing capacities to counter U.S. policies, potentially reshaping the framework of international trade in the years ahead. Strengthening ties with Russia provides China with a strategic buffer that enhances its ability to manage and withstand the challenges posed by the U.S. trade war. With Russia's support, China can secure a steady flow of essential resources, explore technological cooperation, diversify financial mechanisms, and gain diplomatic backing. These elements collectively help reduce China's vulnerabilities to external pressures and enhance its long-term strategic resilience. While the China-Russia alliance may not eliminate all of the challenges posed by U.S. trade policies, it does provide Beijing with valuable tools and leverage to mitigate the impact of American pressure over time. As this alliance deepens, it could alter the global economic landscape, making it more difficult for the U.S. to use trade as a unilateral policy instrument. The partnership between China and Russia not only bolsters China's position in the face of U.S. pressures, but also ensures that China remains a formidable global player in the years to come. That's all for today's video. Thank you for watching, and we sincerely appreciate you joining us. If our content resonated with you or sparked inspiration, please consider showing your support by liking the video and subscribing to our channel. Your support means the world to us. Don't forget to check out another video on our channel, which is now on the screen.